I said we are going to start from study session 3 today. And study session 3 talks about investment returns. By His grace, if time permits, we talk about study session 4, which talks about risk as well. Our previous class, we discussed about study session 2, and this study session 2 talks about stock. So now today, we talk about the return and the risk that are associated with the investments. We'll be talking about stock, we'll be talking about shares. You understand? If you buy shares, if you buy stock, is there any returns that you are expecting? Is there any capital appreciation that you are expecting? Then is there any risk that are shared with that investment? If there is, so let us know. If there is not, let me share my screen again. We're talking about investment returns. And if you look at the investment return, I said something. I said, when you buy a stock or a shares, or you invest in a particular company, so what you should think about is your capital appreciation in form of returns. You should be thinking about your dividends. Is also a return. Do you understand? When you are thinking about those things, you should be thinking about the risk that may be associated as well. So a return is an ultimate objective for any investors. So, but the relation between return and risk is a key concept in finance. So that is why you can't do without the two concepts. They are very, very important concepts. Because when you say you want to invest in a particular investment, two things are involved. One, the return. Two, the risk. The higher the return, the higher will be the profits. The higher the risk, the higher will be the return. The higher the return, the higher will be the return, the risk. The lower the risk, the lower the return. Do you understand? It's directly related. Do you understand? When one is increasing, the other one is also what? Increasing. And when one is decreasing, the other one is also what? Decreasing. Do you understand? So as finance and investment areas are built upon a common set of financial principles, the main characteristics of any investment are investment return and risk. However, to compare various alternatives of investment, the precise quantitative measures for both of these characteristics are needed. So in this study session, you'll be introduced to the element and component of cost concept, and cost systems. So at the end of this course, you should be able to discuss the concept of return. You should be able to explain the historical performance of return. And finally, you should be able to discuss the time value of money. So let's start with the first learning outcome, which talks about the concept of what? Return. Return means, please try as much as possible to take your pen and your jotter, because we may try to jot something down. Return means the level of profit from an investment, that is the reward for investing. When you invest in a particular company, you understand, what comes to your mind is your capital appreciation in form of what? In form of return. So you look into the profit of that particular investment. Do you understand? So the profit that you earn at the end of the day is the reward for investing. So what motivates you as an investor is to invest in a given instrument with the expected return. So the return is the benefit associated with an investment. In most cases, the investor can estimate its historical return precisely. So the expected rate of return. So in a simple mathematical, so the expected rate of return is equal to the probability of having the investment multiplied by multiply by sorry.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. You are not doing that.
So now what we are trying to say here is that the expected rate of return is what we are interested in here. And the expected rate of return is your rate of return. That is the expected rate of return is equal to your rate of, that is the probability of getting the investment multiplied by the, it might be sales, it might be profit, it might be anything. So that is the formula. Do you understand? So that is the formula. If you have various forms of investment, this will now be one. Another one of these will now be two. Another one of these will now be three. Depends on the number of, look at this one now. This is the weighted average. This is the rate. This is the weighted average. This is the rate. This is another weighted average until you get to the last point. Look at this portfolio now. For a simple portfolio of two mutual funds, one investing in stock and the other in bonds. So we have two investments now. So for this one now, the expected rate of return will be this one for bond, this one for stock. So you have just two. If we expect the stock fund to return 10%, so your R is 10% here. Your R is 10%. R for stock. If we expect the stock, so RS is equal to 10%, then, and the bond RB is equal to 6%, and our allocation is 50% to each asset. So your weighted average for stock will be equals to 50%. So then your weighted average for bond will be equals to 50% as well. So now your expected rate of return by the formula, expected rate of return will now be weighted average for bond or stock multiplied by rate of stock plus weighted average for bond multiplied by rate for bond. So your expected rate of return will now be equals to, what's the weight? That is weight for stock, that is 50%, multiplied by rate for stock is 10%, plus weight for bond 50%, 50% multiplied by the rate for bond is 6%. So now by my calculations here, I have 50%, that is 0.5 times 0.1. So that is 0.05. Expected rate is 0.05 plus 0.5 times 0.06. That is 0.03, 0.03. So expected rate will now be 0.05 plus 0.03. That is 0.08, 0.08, which is approximately equals to 8%. So this is the expected rate. What is the expected return for this particular portfolio? The expected return for this particular portfolio is 8%. The expected return for this portfolio is 8%. So I think this is clear enough. So if it is not clear, please let me know. So that is that about the expected return for the two portfolios. You may have more than two portfolios. Do you understand? So expected return is still the same thing. Another interesting thing here, I've explained what investment return is all about. There we have investment analysis and portfolio management. Under the investment analysis, many investments have two components of their measurable returns. So we have a capital gain and we have some form of what? Income. So under this, the rate of return is the percentage increase in return as shared with the older period. So our rate of return will now be income plus capital gain or purchase price. All should be in what? In percentage. So if the rate of return of the share will be estimated as our dividends plus market price of stock at the beginning of the period, that is for this PMB, the market price of stock at the end of the period, that's for E, divided by market price of the stock at the beginning of the period. So that's how to calculate our what? Our rate of return. So that is that about return. So if you look at this example too, suppose you have 1,000 naira in a saving account paying 5% annual interest, and a business associate asks you to lend him that amount of money. If you lend him that amount of money for 1 year, at the end of which he pays you back. So your return will depend on the amount of interest you charge him. If you give him the money as an interest-free loan, your return will be 0. If you charge him 5%, your return will be 50 naira. That is 5% of 1,000. So that is 5% of 1,000. Know that some investment instruments guarantee a return without failure. Others do not. So that is that about investment return. So same thing applies here. So what are the components of returns? So the component of return, we said something about the current income and we talk about the capital gain. So those are the two components of returns. So I've explained that before. Then what are the significance of return? Is there any significant importance that the returns can bring? So return is a key variable in the investment decision. It allows to prepare the actual and expected gains provided by various investments. With the level of return, we need to fairly compensate for the risk involved. So for example, you will be satisfied with an investment that earns 12% if your original expectation is that it should earn at least 10%. Conversely, you will not be satisfied with an investment that 50% return if your original anticipation is that it should earn at least 20%. So that's the significance, is allow us to prepare the actual or expected gains. So that's the importance of return. So historical performance of return on investment. So although most people recognize that future performance is not guaranteed by past performance, they will agree that past data often provide meaningful basis for formulating future expectation. That is why in financial accounting, you use historical data to formulate your future decision. So a common practice in the investment world is to look closely at the historical performance of a given instrument. It's always good at times to look at its historical performance. So it will help you to prepare for what is coming in the future. Because interest and other measures of financial return are most often cited on an annual basis. Evaluation of past investment return is typically done on the same basis. So we have the expected return, as I've said the other time. So Same thing. So that's the explanation I gave the other time. So level of return. The level of return achieved or expected from an investment will depend on variety of factors. The key factors are internal characteristics and the external forces. Under the internal characteristics affect the level of return internally. Example might include investment instruments, the quality of management, the way that the investment is financed, and the customer base of the issuers. Those are the internal characteristics that may affect the level of return. Then we have external factors which resides outside the vicinity of the organization. So the external forces such as Federal Reserve actions, shortage war, price control, political events may also affect the level of returns. All these analysis like political, economic, level of technology, and some other things may affect the level of return also. So those are the external factors that reside outside the vicinity of the organization. Another external factor is general level of price changes, either upward caused by inflation or downward caused by deflation. So inflation tends to have a positive impact on certain types of investment instruments, such as real estate, negative impact on others, such as stocks and fixed income securities. Rising interest rates, which normally accompany increased rate of inflation, can signal affect the return also. So then we have the time value of money. So time value of money is an idea that money available at the present time is worth more than the same amount in the future due to its potential earning capacity. That is why at times when somebody promised to give you 10,000 naira today and promise to give you next year, it's better you collect the one of today because of some factors that may affect the 20,000 that he or she promised to give you in the nearest future. Because so many things can happen, like vagaries of nature. The person that wants to give you money might die, or the person that they want to give money to might die also. God forbid, bad thing. So then another interesting thing is inflation might set in. What 10,000 naira can buy today, 20,000 naira might not be able to buy it in the nearest future. So those are the things that you need to consider when somebody. So then this time value of money also refers to as present discounted value. So time value of money refers to the fact that as long as the opportunity exists to invest to earn interest, the value of money is affected by the point in time when the money is expected to be received. So because opportunity to earn interest on funds are readily available, the sooner you receive a return on a given investment, the better. So that is what they are trying to tell us here. The time value of money impact business finance, consumer finance, and government finance. So time value of money results from the concept of what? Interest. So that is that about the time value of money. Specifically, we have variation in time value of money. So we have net present value, we have present value, we have future value. So for the net present value, it lets you value a stream of future payment into one lump sum today. As you see in many lottery payouts, in lottery, net present value is applicable. Present value tells you the current worth of a future sum of money, while the future value gives you the future value of a cash that you have. I will give you a simple formula to showcase this. So look at this formula. Future value is present value into bracket 1 plus rate raised to power n. So you can make future value to be the present value to be the subject of formula. You can make present value here to be the subject of formula. If the present value is the subject of formula here, your present value will now be future value over 1 plus I, which I is rate raised to power n. So that is that. So we have basic return to savers. Those who save, they also have returns. So, but the return when you save is not as big as when you invest. Do you understand? So, saving in bank is one of the basic forms of what? Investment. The saver receives interest in exchange for placing idle funds in an account. So, the bank will use your money by giving those who need that particular money. Do you understand? And charges rates. Let's assume you deposit 5,000 naira to bank. That 5,000 will be given to those who need it. Let's say at the rate of 5%. So 5% times 5,000. So plus. So the person that lends the money to will pay back 5,250. That's your money. So now, at the end of the month, you know you deposited 5,000. At the end of the month, the bank will charge you, let's say, 150. 150 as bank charges or SMS charges. So 5,000 minus 150. So you have 4,985. You have 4,985. So you deposited 5,000 in bank. So bank will give this 5,000, loan it to someone. So 5,000, bank will get back let's say this 5,000 at interest rate of 5%. Do you understand? So the bank will get back 5,250. Do you understand? So that is the person that they loan the money to will pay back 5,250. So at the end of the month, you that deposited 5,000, the bank will deduct bank charges. It might be SMS and some other charges, 115 naira. So you'll be giving 4,985 at the end of the month. So now, bank will now gain 5,000 minus 4,985, 15 naira. Gain by bank will now be 15 naira on 5,000 naira. Imagine the number of depositors. Imagine the amount that the depositor will deposit in the bank. So now imagine the gain that the bank will have at the end of the day. So now, out of this gain, bank will now give you 3 naira as part of return on your investment. So now bank will now pay you back, but you may not know 4,985 minus 3. Bank will now pay you back 4,982. So that's the amount that they will pay you back. So by depositing 5,000 naira in bank, you will receive this, despite the fact that you have received return also. Is that clear? So that is that about the simple analysis on.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, please, how do you get that 15 naira?
The 15 naira. Honestly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me do it again. Okay, the 15 naira I got, right?
Yes, sir.
I said you deposited 5,000 naira. Let us do it again together. Then, when you deposited 5,000 naira, so bank will loan it. Bank will loan it to someone. Abi? So if bank loan this amount to someone, this 5,000 naira to someone at 5%, So the person will now pay back
5,250.
pay back 5,250, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So if the person pay back 5,250, so the bank charges on your money, they usually take all these SMS charges and some other things. They assume the bank charges is
Yes, sir.
150 at the end of the month.
Okay.
The bank
Okay.
charges varies among banks. Some will charge 100, some will charge 150. So you understand? So
Yes.
this is bank charges from. So now
Okay.
from the bank charges now, 5,000 minus 150, 4,850, 4,000
4,850.
to 4,850. That's the amount that you are supposed to collect. But for the fact that
Yes.
you made an investment with banks by taking your money there, do you understand? So
Okay. Yes,
the
sir.
banks make a gain of, the person pay back 5,250. So the bank make a gain of 250.
250.
Is that clear?
Yes.
You
Yes, sir.
deposited 5,000. The bank make a
Yes.
gain of 50 plus even the other time we made a gain plus the 150,
Eh.
which is equal
Okay.
to
That will be 400.
100. God bless you. So that's the gain on the bank.
Yes, sir.
Out of this 400, the bank will now say, oh, for depositing 5,000 naira, let's say you have 1%. It's
Okay.
not, it's not even up to 1% safe, because the bank will give you a very low interest rate, let's say 1%. So they will now pay you 15 naira from your money. So the money that you suppose collect from bank, that you are supposed to collect from bank, will now be charge
Online.
interest return, which is 50 naira, right? Plus
Yes, sir.
your capital, which is what? 4,850. So
850 plus 50 naira.
totally,
That
yes,
is 4,009.
4,900. So invariably, you are getting back 4,900 with the return from your money of what? 5,000. And the bank
5,000.
depositing money with them, the bank will make a profit of what? 400 naira. So who
400 naira.
is at loss? Who is at gain? So
Bank
that
at
is just,
gain.
so now imagine the number of deposited, the total amount of money that people are depositing in bank. Do you understand? So that is why you
Yes,
see
sir.
banks, they make a lot of money from the deposit. So, but the only
Thank you, sir.
advantage is that, eh?
I said thank you, sir.
So okay, but the only advantage is that if you need your money now, you will get it. But that your money must have been used to get this 400 naira, but you don't know. And the charges will be deducted at the end of the month. That's the bitter truth. So that is that about basic returns for saving in bank. So let us quickly move on to, so look at this. A bank lends you 55,000 at a simple annual interest rate of 3%. How much interest do you own 10 years later? In this case, you use simple interest. So simple interest is just PRT over 100. You put over 100 there. Do you understand? So total amount owed will now be this by this. I think this is not, there's no big deal here. So we have compound interest as well. This is the formula for compound interest. So just plot in the formula. The principal is the amount, accumulated our amount to receive. So we have A, which is our amount accumulated, then we have rate, we have number of years, then we have time period. So this is your amount. Invest all of the money in savings account. However, your bank has 2 different plans. In 5 years from now, which will provide you with more money. You can see, look at this thing. The bank gives you 6% interest rate and compound the interest each month. So that is for 5 years. So your money will be idle in banks for 5 years. Look at the amount of, go and check the rate. If you get 1 million from bank, how much are they going to put as an interest? Do you understand? And now calculate the money that they are going to pay you back. You get 6% here. Then for the plan B, bank gives you 12% interest and compound the interest every 2 months. You can imagine. And that is going to be for 5 years. So at the end of the day, it will pay the bank. Do you understand? So that is that about session 3. If there's any questions, comments, reactions, so please do so before we call it a day.
So I have questions, sir.
Okay, I'm listening.
Hello, sir. I have questions, sir.
I'm with you.
Okay, sir. Sir, I want to ask a question on default.
On
default.
Okay.
When a bank lends you money and maybe probability of they give you like 6 months to pay their money back, and maybe like for like 2 months you are doing good, you are paying the money, and for the remaining 4 months you have default on that loan. Please, how can they address that kind of? Is it that interest will still be accumulating on the loan, or the person will pay the normal interest rate that they've given the person initial stage?
You know, these questions, the response to your question varies among banks. So I may not have a direct response, but I will tell you a general thing that they are supposed to, that they will do. Let's assume the bank loan you 10 million naira, and you are going to pay back in 6 months' time, right? For the first 2 months, you pay, but the remaining 4 months, you did not pay. Do you understand? The
Yes,
most
sir.
important thing is, if let's assume in each month you are paying 1.5 million, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, that's for, we are saying for 6 months, right? 3,
Yes, sir.
3, that's 6, 1.5. Then the last 6 months, you pay 2.5, making 10 million. Do you understand? So now, if you
Yes,
pay
sir.
for the first 2 months, no default. But for the first 4 months, there is a default. Within that period of time, you receive a lot of messages from them. So if you don't attend to those messages, they will leave you until the last month. If at the end of the last month, you did not pay, 2 things might happen. It's either they use what you use as a collateral security against the remaining part of the money that you have not paid, or they extend it to you by increasing the rate for you. I don't know whether you understand what I'm trying to say. It's either they use those things that you use as collateral security, they might sell it, they might use it against that thing, or they increase the rate for the subsequent payments. So those are the things that they do as far as bank is concerned. So it's not always good to be defaulted. It's not always good. It will be at your own detriment at the end of the day.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Any other question? Reactions, comments? So in the absence of questions, reactions, I think this is going to be the best time for us to draw our curtains for today's lecture. Try as much as possible to read ahead of the class. I wish you best of luck. Bye.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir.
God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it.
Congrats,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Sir. Hello.